Okay, good morning class. Today we're going to cover simplifying radicals and expressions with multiplication and division. Now, a couple of things that we're going over in this video you may not have seen previously. So if you need to watch this video 2, 3, 4 times to get the concepts down, so be it. But please watch it and understand the concepts. Without any further ado, let's jump right in. Okay, examples. Can you simplify the product or quotient of the radical expressions? Here in A, we have the cubed root of 6 times the square root of 2. This index is a cube root. This index is a square root. Because these indexes are different, you cannot multiply them. So it's already simplified. So it basically stays the cube root of 6 times the square root of 2. Okay? Let's move down to B. B, we have the cubed root of -4 times the cubed root of 2. Now, they're both cube roots in the indexes, and because these indexes are the same, we can multiply them. So we would simply multiply the radicands, what's under the radical signs. So this would basically become the cubed root of -4 times 2, which is the cubed root of -8. The cube root of -8 is -2, because -2 times -2 times -2 is -8. Okay? Let's move down to C. C, we have the square root of 12x cubed y times the square root of 3x to the 5th y. These are both square roots for the index. Since they're both the same, we can multiply them, so we simply multiply what's under the radical signs, which gives us 12 times 3 is 36, x cubed times x to the 5th is x to the 8th, y times y is y squared, so we have the square root of 36 x to the 8th y squared. Now we just simplify this here. The square root of 36 is 6. The square root of x to the 8th is x to the 4th, and the square root of y squared is simply y. So all of this gives us 6x to the 4th y. Now, let's move to D. D, we have the cubed root of 8a to the 6th c to the 12th times the square root of 49a to the 4th b to the 6th. Now, previously I told you you could not multiply them when they had different indexes, like I showed you up here in A. But, however, what we can do is we can break both of these down individually and then combine the answers afterwards. For example, let's start with the cube root of 8a to the 6th c to the 12th. Now, the cube root of 8 is 2. The cube root of a to the 6th is basically a to the 6 over 3, which is just simply a squared. And then the cube root of c to the 12th is basically c to the 12 over 3, which is c to the 4th. So we've taken this and broken it down to be 2a squared c to the 4th. Now, let's look at this part, the square root of 49a to the 4th b to the 6th. Well, the square root of 49 is 7. The square root of a to the 4th is a squared, and the square root of b to the 6th is b cubed. So we've taken this and broken it down to this. Now we can combine these two here. 2 times 7 is 14. A squared times a squared is a to the 4th. B cubed, there's nothing else to multiply it by. We just bring it over. B cubed, c to the 4th, nothing else to multiply it by. C 4th. So from all of this here, we get 14, a to the 4th, b cubed, c to the 4th. Again, if I seem to be going too fast for you, please watch the video again and just look at the steps. This should become clear to you, hopefully. Let's look at E. E, we have the 4th root of 256, x to the 10th, y to the 7th, divided by the 4th root of 16x squared, y cubed. There are a couple of ways we can actually go about solving this. Depending on who your teacher is, they may show you a couple of different ways. I'm going to show you a way which I think is one of the easiest ways to solve this. Since the index is 4 here, the index is 4 here. They have the same index. Since they have the same index, I'm going to divide the numerator by the denominator. So 256 divided by 16 is 16. X to the 10th divided by x squared is x to the 10 minus 2, which is x to the 8th. Y to the 7th divided by y cubed is y to the 7 minus 3, y to the 4th. So when I divide these two, because of the same index, I get the 4th root of 16, x to the 8th, y to the 4th. Now all I need to do is just deal with this, and this is simple. The 4th root of 16 is 2. The 4th root of x to the 8th is simply x squared. The 4th root of y to the 4th is y. So the answer here is just simply 2x squared y. That's what we get from all of this here. Now, let's go over to f. Now, f, we have 4 times the cubed root of 40a to the 7th, b to the 10th, divided by the square root of 36a to the 10th, b to the 4th. Now, this numerator, the index is cubed, the index is squared here, so we can't do the division like we did here. But, like we did in the previous one, we can separate these individually and then combine our results at the end. So, what I would do with numerator, 4 times the cube root of 40, a to the 7, b to the 10th, I would separate it. This would be 4 times, now I'm going to take this cube root 40a 7b to the 10th, separate it into 2 cubes. Everything that's a perfect cube, I'll place under my first radical. Everything that's not a perfect cube, I'll place under my second radical. Now, cube root of 40, I would break down as the cube root of 8 times cube root of 5. Because 8 times 5 is 40, and 8 is a perfect cube. For the a to the 7th, I would take out a to the 6th, which is a perfect cube, put the remaining a under my other radical. For the b to the 10th, I would take out b to the 9th, place the remaining b under this radical. Now, this part is easy. 4 times the cubed root of 8a to the 6th, b to the 9th. Well, the cubed root of 8 is 2. The cubed root of a to the 6th is a squared. The cubed root of b to the 9th is b cubed. So we have 4 times 2a squared b cubed, and then we just simply bring down the cubed root of 5ab. Multiplying these two together, we get 8a squared b cubed times the cubed root of 5ab. That takes care of our numerator. Now let's go to our denominator. Our denominator, square root of 36, a to the 10th, b to the 4th. So I will put that under a radical. Square root 36, a to the 10th, b to the 4th. The square root of 36 is 6. The square root of a to the 10th is a to the 5th. The square root of b to the 4th is b squared. So now we have our numerator, now we have our denominator. So our numerator is 8a squared b cubed, cubed root of 5ab, over 6a to the 5th b squared. We can simplify this. With the 8 and the 6, 2 goes into both of them, so they would simplify to be 4 and 3. A squared divided by a to the 5th is a to the 2 minus 5, which is a to the negative 3, and with negative exponents, we move them to the denominator or numerator, depending on the case, to make them positive, so our a cubed is positive in our denominator. Here we have b cubed divided by b squared, which is b to the 3 minus 2, which is just simply b, which is in the top, and then we just bring down our cubed root of 5ab. So, all of this gave us 4b over 3a cubed, the cube root of 5ab. Now, again, if anything I said here threw you off or you weren't clear, please just go right back through the steps here, and you should be able to pick up on this wholeheartedly. I'm going to move on to the next part of the video in another video here. Talk with you later, class.